I mean, it wasn't a legal firing. My performance was good. I was I was doing everything I was supposed to be doing. I was even one of those government employees that went every day of the week.
I'm exhausted, and it's offensive to tell me that I am a lazy federal worker. And I got news for you. The federal benefits aren't as great as you all think they are. We're not here living off of the American people tax dollar. We're trying to save it.
They're not being honest with the public on what and how this is going to impact.
I always knew I wanted to work for the IRS. This was my dream job. We were already really needing more employees to handle the cases that we already had.
Now imagine being an IRS revenue officer who spent the last year and a half training and developing these new hires, only to see them go without warning.
Good morning. Come with me to the IRS as a federal employee who is about to get fired.
The IRS is doing layoffs. Again. And not just a few people. They're swinging the axe at 25% of their entire workforce. That's 1 in 4 employees. Right in the middle of tax season. You know, that magical time of year when Americans collectively cry into their coffee and try to decode tax forms like it's a national escape room challenge. Oh, and it gets better. The IRS also recently put about 50 IT security staffers on administrative leave. Just as the agency is being pressured to share more data across federal departments. So, we're down cybersecurity during filing season. It's like watching someone remodel a plane mid-flight.
The Trump administration will be firing up to 20% of the IRS's workforce beginning this evening. I've received a number of emails from a number of employees working at the IRS who said they received reduction in workforce notices. Now, here's what's the significant part. It's happening during tax season. Tax season ends on April 15th. This is the busiest time of year for the IRS, and well, they're about to terminate a lot of people.
I had to report every Monday through Friday. 7 to 3:30. That was my tour duty, and that's what I served. And here I am. I was a Trump supporter. When he talks about government waste and all that, yes, I'm behind it. I believe there is a lot of stuff in the government that needs fixing. And that's part of the reason why I actually wanted to work for the government, to help change the things that are wrong in the world, I thought that someone with like his business acumen would have come in with a fine-tooth comb and actually found it, instead of coming in with a wrecking ball and destroying people's lives for no reason.
If you're a federal employee, there's not 1 millisecond of your day that is not documented, right? When we sign onto a system, it date stamps and time stamps when you get in there.
Ellis has been at the IRS for 28 years. She says that if there are not enough IRS workers to collect tax revenues for the federal government, then services around the country will suffer.
Nobody likes paying taxes. I don't even like paying taxes. So when you try to talk about Internal Revenue Service, the public thinks, good, now they can't collect our taxes. But they don't think, how's that going to impact my grandmother that gets a Social Security check, or my kids that have to eat school lunches, or even early childhood development, or my veterans that won't get the care they need because we have to cut all of these agencies because we have no funds for it.
You know that the competency that was stripped out of the IRS by retirements is staggering. But these hoped-for human resources are now gone, leaving behind a huge backlog of cases that weren't given any attention.
Well, this is it, y'all. I have officially been laid off from the IRS per the executive order from Donald Trump. So I did get reinstated back at my job Monday, so I am back employed at the Internal Revenue Service, but I am on admin leave, I guess, until further notice.
So last night I got the call to bring my equipment in today, even though today is not an in-person day for me. I have been working at the IRS for about 7 months, so that makes me a probationary employee. So I was able to badge into our parking garage. I was a little worried I'm a little bit late because of the ice. It's -8 degrees in Missouri. I can't record while I'm inside, but I have all my belongings packed up. So I'll let you know what happens when I'm done. So it is 2:15. I am just leaving the IRS for the last time in my indefinite future. Alright, I'm home in my driveway. I'm no longer employed, do not have my badge anymore. So if you want to know what happened, I'll give you guys a kind of a rundown. My job was to talk to people on the phone, so I got on the phones for about 45 minutes and then was told to get off the phones and print out any documents that we needed, like W-2s, pay stubs. There were a couple flyers around the building for things that the union would need if you get terminated, so printing out those forms. I already done this on Tuesday when I came into the office. I was very aware that I was likely getting fired this week. We were told about 10 a.m. like emails would go out letting you that you were terminated, then you'd have an hour to leave. I didn't leave until 2, and the 3 people that were with me, none of us ever got emails. Supposedly the email system was so clogged up that emails were not being sent out. So our managers were instructed to gather our equipment, kind of make sure we have everything, and then walk us out to our doors. Yeah, so basically I waited around for several hours today for an email I never got, and then had to say goodbye to my lovely manager. So that's it.
Fourth, some of these laid off hires were working on amended returns. It's very common for us to file amended returns for our battered clients who are forced to overpay the IRS every year because they lacked a tax professional who really wanted to work for them and not the IRS. Here's the problem. Amended returns already take too long to process. And with these staffing cuts, it means a lot of people won't see the refunds that they are legally entitled to anytime soon.
You know, this administration is something else. There is this new agreement that they have come up with the IRS. They want the IRS to share tax data of undocumented immigrants with the Department of Homeland Security. And the acting IRS commissioner, her name is Melanie Krause, is saying, I'm not going to do it. She's refusing to participate in that. And guess what? She is planning on resigning. That's according to the Washington Post, saying that she is going to take part in the deferred resignation program that the government is offering to agency employees. By the way, the IRS in the coming days is going to lay off thousands of people. This is some crazy, lawless BS. What happened to the right to privacy in this country? What happened?
Naturally, the official line is that these cuts are about efficiency. The Treasury says they're rolling back so-called wasteful Biden-era hiring surges and embracing tech-driven improvements. Which sounds great, until you realize their idea of process improvement is turning the IRS into a ghost town during the one season it actually needs to function. Meanwhile, protesters across the U.S. are not having it. Hands-off rallies erupted from New York to Nevada. And on social media, people are reacting with everything from nervous laughter to full-blown breakdowns over what this means for refunds, delays, and basic accountability. What are we doing, folks? Spinning a roulette wheel to staff the country's tax agency? The worst part? Even ex-commissioners are ringing alarm bells, warning that shaking up the IRS during tax season is the bureaucratic version of lighting your kitchen on fire while trying to boil an egg. It's just not done. Let us know what you think, comment and tell us your wildest IRS experience. If you like this video, send it to someone who needs to see it before they try filing taxes with a magic 8-ball. Before you scroll, smash that like button and subscribe, because we are bringing you the most raw stories.